What's up, gamers? Welcome to another episode of Get Your Game Sense Up. My name is Bios, your annoyed average gamer.
And I am SuperKami GP. And I just want to say a happy birthday to all my Geminis out there. Happy birthday to you guys. You two-faced.
And in this episode of Get Your Game Sense Up, we are going to be talking about Amazon Game Studios and the controversy surrounding their decision to add microtransactions to their upcoming title, New World.
Yeah, guys, New World is a brand new MMO. I mean, do people even play this anymore? But yeah, it's a brand new MMO.
Why do you always say that?
Amazon.
Why do you always say that?
I mean, hey, I don't know. Do people play any new MMOs anymore? I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, it's the new game from Amazon, and Bios has a lot of feelings about it.
Their latest game, New World, which is an MMO, a theme park MMO.
Sorry, do they have any other games out? Does Amazon?
No.
So this will be their first
games,
game.
Yeah, all their other games canceled. They had games that came out, but they canceled them because of terrible backlash, poor optimization, all that stuff. Do you remember?
I remember there was some multiplayer
Crucible.
game. Crucible, yeah. That they shut that one down. Yeah.
That died in a month.
Yeah. It was just like in beta. It was never fully released, was it?
Yeah. No, it was in beta. And then it was released,
and
then they took it back to beta, and then it died.
Wow, R.I.P.
Yeah, and it was a really cool concept. It's just that people thought it didn't have any personality. The characters were unbalanced. The game mode, there wasn't enough variety, and whatever. It just died. They were working on the Lords of the Ring MMO. That one got canceled. They had another game called Breakaway. Can't remember what that one was about. But yeah, now they're working on New World. And I've been keeping my tabs on it to see how it's going to go. And they've been making a lot of great strides with it, which is why it got my interest. It's going to be voice acting. It's going to be action combat. It's actually going to have like a main story, and then whenever you go to like different parts of the island, this open world island thing, there's going to be mini stories that you can find, interactable characters, all this cool stuff, which is like all appealing to me and made me very excited. And then they announced their plans when it came to monetization. The game is going to be paid. It's not going to have a subscription, so it's a buy to play.
How much do you know?
No idea. It's people are ballparking it between 50 and 60 for a one-time payment, which is fine. And then
for now, usually those type of services, those MMOs was like DC Universe. I bought that for $60, and then I think I had to keep a subscription on top of it. But this has no subscription. But also but I've seen a lot of buy to play games where they add a subscription later. 6 months later, 8 months later, or it goes free to play maybe a year later, and then so we'll see how this one goes.
Yeah, so basically, when they were talking about their monetization and how people are at the point, the community is at the point where they just don't want to hear this type of stuff. When it comes to paying for things in a video game, they don't really want to hear it unless it's cosmetic. And even at that point, people are still kind of iffy, even when it comes to cosmetics. When Amazon, when they came out with their news of how we're thinking about doing paid XP boosts, you have to pay for fast travel, you have to pay for rest XP, basically the XP that you get while you're playing. What else? Some other stuff that they were talking about. We want to add this in the game, and we want feedback of how to properly monetize it, blah, blah, blah. Then they had the backlash. People were questioning them, and also the terms of when this stuff is going to be in the game. So people, they got their backlash, and people started questioning them. They're just okay, you want to do all this? Why? Shouldn't the game be enjoyable enough for people to not have to spend money to get those resources? You guys say that we can get it in game, but if you're selling it, that means it's going to be at a hindrance to us. Why would you pay for something if you can get it just as fine in the game? So people are suspecting that they are going to be purposely creating issues in the game just so they can sell the solution. So you know, and there was stuff about like Amazon also said about there's going to be ways for people to skip content to like level up quicker and all this other stuff. And they're like, oh, we're trying to be there for the person, the casual who can't play the game 8 hours a day or whatever, has many times, so they can just hop in, buy a pack, and be caught up with everybody else. Nobody likes that either, because then it also begs the question. So you're saying is your game is not interesting? Because if your game was interesting, even if that person does not have the time, they can slowly make the time to do it, or whenever they put in the time, it like they wouldn't feel like they have to spend money to catch up with everybody else because they're just enjoying the game. Like, why can't that be enough? You know, like, why are you guys trying to make it this thing where, because like they're talking, like they're going about it as everybody wants to get to endgame. That's not true. Not everybody wants to get to endgame. We don't even know what endgame for the game is. Like, you guys are adding dungeons and all that stuff, but it's still like, you know, in the baby stages. And when they released their content, when they came for their first, like the first teaser dungeon, because they have others, but the first one, it was good, but people were like kind of mad because they were reusing enemies and only like one boss actually had new mechanics. So like everybody's like on wishy waters when it comes to Amazon. And in my opinion, it's just like, you know, I kind of agree. It's like, why do you have to sell stuff that people can earn in game and not just leave it with the cosmetics like you said? And then when people question you, like, okay, you guys said it's going to be like I forgot how it is, but they're like, oh, we're not going to put it in until 2022, but the game is not coming out to 2021, early 2021. So like in less than a year, all this stuff is going to roll out. And it's like, you know, do you get what I'm trying to say?
I do get what you're trying to say. I don't think it's as serious as some people have made it out to be. I remember when you sent me that YouTube video of that one guy complaining, and he put out a lot of great points. I forget the YouTuber who it was, but that was a lot of great points that he made. But I'm not not aggressive. I'm not as defensive when it comes to microtransactions, as you know. And you know, there's very few games where I have spent money on microtransactions. Like, I could say maybe about 3 games, top of my head, really. But I don't know. Okay, like when it comes to XP boosters, I don't know, it's complicated. So if I'm gonna do this as a business kind of side, totally business, you know, I'm looking at the outside, you know, viewer. I'm not in the gaming industry. Amazon's trying to crack into this gaming sphere, and they haven't been able to do it yet. As you've listed off, Crucible died, and the Lord of the Rings game died, and a couple other games died. And I think Amazon really wants to make something big, but also they really want to make a quick buck, you know? So they're looking at maybe, you know, to what some people might think as bad practices, as XP boosters and selling stuff in game. Again, I think it was primarily cosmetics. I don't know if they're gonna say, "Oh, we're gonna sell exotic swords or whatever." In their
They said that, oh, it's gonna be. First they said, oh, it's primarily gonna be cosmetics, and then they listed off that we also want to sell in-game mechanics, and mechanics aren't cosmetics. Mechanics are fast travel, XP boosters, rested XP, and that could also lead into
and that's another thing. So yeah,
weapons,
as I was saying, I feel you know, if they do weapons and armor set, then at that point it's just pay to win. So then I'd be like, hey,
exactly,
don't do that. I'm not for a pay to win game. I actually don't know any pay to win games. I feel like all pay to win games are like mobile games, to be honest. I don't know any pay to win games on PC or console. But I'm not, you know, I'm not the biggest gamer. Mm-hmm. I mean, I play games, but I don't play like a lot of MMOs or whatever like that. But the point is that even stuff like fast travel and XP boosters, I don't think those are big deals because you can travel in the game as you want. And you know, XP boosters, people. So what if someone pays to get more XP when you could just play? Because you know, as its primary gameplay loop, all MMOs are grindy. And if you're enjoying the game, you're gonna grind regardless. I feel like we had this conversation before when it came to Overwatch. You know, like when you were talking about like for Overwatch 1 and 2, it's like the point is like that type of game in terms of New World and MMOs as a whole, those games are grindy. It's not that your game's not fun. Like the point is, the most standard like mission type is like you do 3 little objectives, and on the 4th objective you're gonna go fight a boss or whatever, right? Or it's like, okay, go kill those enemies for this currency and that material type, then go do that and do this, and like speak to me. Like all MMOs and like most games follow that mission type where you fight something, collect something, go bring it back, rinse and repeat until you go fight a boss. And in that sense, that is grindy. So I don't see anything wrong, for Amazon to make a quick buck because all of their other projects have failed, and sure, at the same time, Amazon is one of the biggest companies in the world, but I'm not saying Amazon Gaming is the biggest company in the world. Like, I don't know how much money they're giving their gaming studios if they haven't seen their return on investment just yet,
At this stage, it's just expendable. Like they're just
exactly
throwing stuff at the wall until it sticks.
Exactly. So that's why I feel like they're just trying to get something. They're just kind of trying to get something to work. They're trying to make something stick.
But
and if
why?
that includes XP boosters or fast travel, like sure, you might complain that it took me 2 hours to get to level 10, but it took you 5 hours. But like, hey, you wanted to play those 5 hours. Like that's just the nature of the MMO. Like we can't complain that it's too grindy, it takes me too long. That's just how MMOs are, right? You want to. If you want to travel, just get on your horse, go travel. Like that's you're always talking about making the world more immersive. I can make the argument that fast travel deletes that immersion. Because in real life, there's no such thing as fast travel. Like you don't just go on a loading screen and pop in somewhere. You have to make that course, especially in the time period this game takes place, and you're gonna have to either
but it's a video game. It's not supposed to be like hardcore realistic. If you want to just like have a moment and relax walking through whatever, you can do that, sure. But which is it? Is it a video game or do you want immersion? Like
you
can have it, but the thing is like because like fast travel, it's that's an in-game mechanic. Why does it have to be sold? Because it's not essential to the game. The game
is. No, it's not. Fast travel is not essential to the game because you can just walk there. I think the first The Division didn't have fast travel like when it first launched. They added it later, like because the map wasn't that incredibly large until people. I think you could fast travel between the safe houses, but you couldn't fast travel from outside the dark zone or whatever. You literally had to walk out the dark zone. But it was like until they added that later on, right? But it's just like, but they just wanted you to walk. Like it doesn't change the fact that like, you complain. Like remember when you used to play Destiny in D1, you would always complain how slow we would be in the tower going from point A to B. So in Destiny 2, they added that little mini game so you can go ahead and run faster in the tower. It doesn't change anything if you go faster or slower. That does not affect the game. So that's why they can sell it. They can sell fast travel because
I just don't think when it comes to like the history of just like games having it with no problem and then they're just turning around and now trying to sell it.
Sure, you're absolutely right, but I also see, Amazon just trying to make a quick buck. That's how I see it. Like
the thing is, like with Amazon's position where they're literally on like waters where their interest from the moment New World and all their other games came out, like people's interest was very thin because they're just coming off the crux of like failed games of like Anthem and Cyberpunk, etc. So out of all things that you want to do is try to make the fan base angry. Why would you just to make a quick buck? It's like you're gonna make the money regardless. Like let's be honest, you're gonna make the money.
Not true because they're a brand new. No, they're not. They're a brand new studio. They're a brand new company. They're first time making a game. Their other game, at least, that failed. Who's gonna go out and just spend $60 on something they don't know might not even last 2 months? You know, no.
which is
Like,
what happened with all of their like attempts to be open and with the community and what they're developing. Because first knew it was going to be a PvP open world siege type of game, and a lot of people loved that. But what happened is they didn't have enough like variety in the content, so they changed it to be more MMO like. And a lot of people, even more people, like that even better with inclusion of PvP excursions and stuff like that. Then, with all the things of like adding dungeons and new areas, new creatures, better story. Every time they release those news, Amazon keeps getting more and more new traction. And on top of that, big content creators, streamers are playing the game and actually showing a lot of interest. So they have that generated attention around them. That's why when they're talking about what they want to do with microtransaction, the backlash is huge because they have that attention.
I feel like the backlash, I wouldn't say the backlash represents how big the actual interest of the game is, because people are always going to talk. Whenever something negative is around, whatever topic it is, people jump in that action. Doesn't matter if you were involved in that or whatever. If something negative is in the hot news, people are going to say, it sucks that. Hey, and maybe for the most part, that negativity for this might have been good so they can have less microtransactions. But I'm not going to say that the amount of backlash they had equals to how many people are actually interested in that game who would actually purchase it. Like, people are just saying their 2 cents because it's free to talk. Anybody can talk on Twitter for free, but it's not free to actually buy the game and play it. And so, I don't know. I mean, I do think, if the community doesn't want it, I think Amazon can afford to listen to their community and not include it. I just don't think it's as bad as it was just seemed to have been when they first announced it. Like,
I think what it is for why you're saying that is because like you're looking at it as face first as what they said and what the community said. But what the community is saying, what people are talking about, is the future implications of what this can lead to.
Sure, and I feel like once that feature comes, then everybody grab your pitchforks and go crazy. Stop playing the game. Boycott, but for sure, create chaos. But until then, and we do know that chaos does work. Making this backlash does work. Look at Star Wars. Look at Anthem. Look at Cyberpunk. This backlash can work.
Not necessarily.
Yes.
The only thing that I consider the backlash has actually had an effect on would be Anthem.
Star Wars. Star Wars was pay to win. They completely redefined the whole entire game. They remade the entire game. It took like 2 years, but they did it.
It took 2 years.
Okay, but the point was it's done, and the game is really well received. It has a very strong and healthy player base.
But look what happened with Anthem. I mean, with Cyberpunk. No matter how much backlash has happened, they still made way more money.
Yeah, but
yeah.
But did you not hear that new report that came out like 2 days ago about how like their stock fell like 63% and they aren't going to put out any new content until 2022, and that they're now facing the consequences of what happened in December? Sure, it's up front they made a lot of money up front, yeah, but now they're suffering. Right now, we're in June 1st. They're suffering.
But why allow them to get to that point? What's so wrong with them telling them, hey, we don't like this step. We know what's going to happen in the future. We don't want that future. We don't want to have a future of us getting angry at you guys because we gave you slack and gave you that open window to do all this negative stuff, this anti-consumer stuff.
I'm not saying people shouldn't protest and say what's on their mind. I totally agree. If people want to complain and say this is not right, by all means, right? By all means. I'm just not ready to cancel the game yet. Even I'm not interested in this game. Let me get super clear. I don't want to play MMOs like that, unless like someone like a BIOS would actually be serious about a game for once. But I don't mind people complaining about the game and getting that word out that you're speaking about. But until then, I just don't think it's a big problem until we actually see the problem.
Nobody's canceling the game. They're just trying to make it clear that what Amazon is talking about is not good, or what Amazon is trying to do is not good, and they don't want it.
Sure. Sure. I mean, again, we have to wait and see when the game actually comes out to see how aggressive these microtransactions are. Like, how big is the map for, or how slow do you move
Well,
for you to need fast travel? How
okay.
much of a grind is it for you to need XP boosters? If they do end up selling weapons of, like swords and, like armor, of course, that's a major problem. We need to see how bad it is. Like, how in depth is the customization in the game before you even touch the marketplace, like
The thing is that like we know when it comes to the history, and Amazon actually made this clear when it came to them implementing these changes. Like, a lot of games have done this where, oh yeah, they release the game and everything looks fine at first, and then 6 months later or 2 weeks later, whatever, boom, they hit you with all this stuff. Boom, they start making patches and changing the XP and all that stuff later. We're not gonna know that when the game comes out. That's why people want to make their stance clear now that they don't want this at all, so that there won't be any future implications of those stuff.
Okay, let's say they make that clear now, whatever, and then 6 months later, no, the game comes out and it comes out really strong. Let's say they get concurrent like 2 million players, just ballparking, right? 6 months later, 8 months later, boom, they had a patch, nerf XP, add a fast travel, then all these problems. Hey, if they're having a concurrent of 2 million players, their player base would make it very known, we will not accept this. We're not going to play this game, period.
Right.
Yeah. And to me, that's when the problem happens. That's when they can go ahead and say, no, not okay. For sure, make the word be known for sure up front, but we can't prevent. Like, if the company's gonna do it, they're gonna do it. All the company can do is, are they gonna listen to the community, or are they not gonna listen to the community? And look at Bungie; it took them 6 months to fix stasis. The patch comes out in 2 days. Very exciting. But Bungie was
them to implement transmod.
Yeah, we'll see transmod. We'll see in 6 months to a year how that'll be. But the point is, and again, Bungie knew. Quick side tangent, but Bungie knew that transmog is bad. There's no way, like, no one could read that format and say, yeah, this is good. Yeah, everyone's gonna like this. They knew there's gonna be a big uproar, right? We'll see if they'll change it in 6 months or a year, but they know, But the point is, when it came out, the community was very loud about it, and Bungie does know. We need to know how much does it actually affect them, right? So that's when the problem. That's when the real solution can start. We can't fix something until they realize that it's a problem for them, because they don't see it as a problem; they see it as an opportunity, right? It doesn't become a problem until they're like, "Oh crap, this doesn't work out. No one's playing our game. We're losing money. Take it out." That's when it's a problem.
That's like the other side of this when it comes to like the whole they're losing money, just like stop paying them, stop playing the game, stop doing all that stuff. It's starting to show that, I mean, I don't know, it's starting to show like when it comes to like live service games like this, that doesn't really work. Like for World of Warcraft, they lost a huge percent, like 62 something percent of players, but they made 7% more in earnings because there's people out there willing to put money into the game. So it doesn't matter how many people that stop playing the game and stop paying, whatever. If there's still that one person that's still paying and all that stuff is more than 100 players.
Sure, absolutely. Hopefully that one person will start to come to realize that they're getting scammed.
But
not do that.
But they don't. And also when it comes to the other stuff that we talk about, like, it's just like this never-ending cycle of like, like for New World, we know what's up. The people that are complaining know what's up, but New World is appealing to these new people that are either like totally fresh or that are burned from the other games and just still don't know better. Like, as many people are like complaining.
We gotta get your game sense up. Gotta let people know that all it does is communication. We gotta get on the forums. We gotta tell people in the streets, hey, there's a problem. Like, maybe we jump into New World and say, hey, thanks for joining my clan. Let me tell you all the problems with this game. Let me tell you how you're getting scammed by playing this game. That's all it is. Gotta tell people. You're absolutely right. There will always be new people that not know, but until they do know, for them, if they're invested in the game, if someone's truly invested, they're gonna look up some sort of guide, on YouTube. They're gonna be like, oh, how do I level up quickly, or how can I find this weapon, right? And then through that search, they're gonna potentially land on a channel like ours, discussing the world and see the problem, and that'll open their eyes, or and their ears. So it's just getting the word out there. The more it's spoken about, the more chance of the truth being public.
I guess I just kind of see it as like, as many people can talk about it and complain and make things known. It would just be nice for Amazon in this position, who sees that they have a very unique thing on their hands, and it's like their only title that they have, to at least have the common decency to not mess it up by making people angry and doing these things that they know, because the research is there, that is not good. Like, they can still make their money by making a proper game. Like, why can't it just be that? Because of course it can't just be that, because all the other bad stuff works, and people see that it works, and other companies want to copy it. I know. But like, yeah. I'm just saying, for Amazon, who's not in that position, who's really not in the position, at least don't, like, be real.
I agree. I don't think they need it. Does it hurt it to have it? No, not in my opinion. At least not yet. But I agree. It'd be better on their side to look as good as possible. To be like, hey guys, welcome to Amazon, where we have no problems. You could come, you could literally shop for whatever you want, you could watch whatever you want, and then you can play any game you want and have literally no issues. It's the one-stop destination for everything. I agree.
Not that far, but
I mean, that's what they're trying to be.
I guess, yeah.
They are trying. They want TV and movies. They want video games. They sell everything. They have grocery stores. They're trying to do it all.
Yeah.
So I agree. Like, they don't need these problems. Amazon already has a bunch of other problems in their other divisions. But I agree. I think it would be good for them to do that. Maybe, when they're a bit more reputable, like 10 years from now, when they're, at the level of Ubisoft, which they could get to, Ubisoft or Activision kind of scenario, then it could be a bit more like, hey, we're going to do this or that. But
no.
Then.
Not even then.
No, but at that point, they're going to be AAA studios. Like, people want to buy their games no matter what. Like, so then they can get away with whatever.
No. That's just the other thing. Like, if you're because, like, okay, so like Cyberpunk, perfect example, CD Projekt Red, they were doing things right, they were doing it, going for it, everybody was like, oh my god, they are the golden example for gaming companies. They listen, they do whatever, and then Cyberpunk happened, and now they're going through the gutter. We'll see how long that gutter lasts. Like, why? Just continue doing the right thing, I guess. I don't get it.
The right thing doesn't always make you the most money.
Does that? I don't know. Does it have to be the most money? People are gonna.
The money makes the world go around. Let's not forget that. And
yeah, but like when you're still getting money.
Video games, even the movie industry and the TV, no entertainment exists for art pleasure. It is for money. It is all for money.
All right, guys, that was this episode of Get Your Game Sense Up. Let us know down in the comments what you guys think about Amazon Game Studios on their decisions on their choices when it comes to the microtransactions. Do you think the community is overreacting? Do you think we have a right to actually overreact so that we can prevent anything? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. And Super, let them know where they can hear us.
Guys, we are available on all podcast platforms. So that includes iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify.
And we'll catch you guys in the next episode. All right, guys, always remember,
get Get your game sense up.